are back. I get to say good morning again. I'm on a different mic in a different place, sitting in a different spot. Turn my mic down just a little. Perfect. No, never mind. I'm gonna be on that one. That's perfect. That's perfect. The red mic you don't even have to have on. That's the one right.
I don't have it on.
Okay. That's if it's not on, that's you. So that's good. I'm not
the
used.
Producer this morning.
Okay.
And we make no guarantees.
We're doing good. You're doing good.
Mark do not make a whole person.
Yeah.
Chris. So just
there we
Hey,
go.
The three of us, we might complete that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Since you're here, but thank you.
Well, I don't know about that.
All right. Now I do have a question before we get started. Am I supposed to be able to see us in that screen? Because I don't. Just to make sure before we get started. I will go on and get started though. I want to say that this next portion, this whole hour is going to be brought to you by Chris Hanna. I'll get to welcome Chris to the show. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you, Mark.
And this is paid for by Chris Hanna, candidate for sheriff.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. But you took the whole hour of just me and you.
Me and you, buddy.
It's man.
It's been a while since I've done Trooper Thursday, and you know, hey, I got to make up for lost time.
I was gonna come into that and say that that you're no stranger to coming into the radio station because you do come in here. Was it every third Thursday?
Yes, sir. Yeah, every third Thursday.
You would always come in here, Chris. What made you want to run for Lawrence County Sheriff?
You know, actually, Charlotte and I have talked about this a couple of times. Just throwing things out there and ideas. And, you know, I've been doing this for 33 years and I've learned a lot in 33 years. You know, I had 9 years with the sheriff's office and then I have 24 with the Highway Patrol. And I've gained a lot of experience and a lot of, you know, just a lot of different things that's happened that I think I can bring to Lawrence County and maybe, I'm not saying the sheriff's department is bad, but maybe add to it to make it a better department.
You know, it takes a special man to even want, or a woman too, to even want to get involved in law enforcement.
Yeah. You know, this day and time, you see it, I think people are asphyxiated with the news. They just sit there and watch it. And if you believe everything that you see on the news, it's doomsday every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, law enforcement, let's just go back to 2020. You know, law enforcement's been taking hits. And I just think that we need to get people in key areas. We need to put deputies, police officers, troopers. We need to put them on the good ones on the forefront of the line, and that way people can see that it's not what they see on the news.
That's right. That's right. And it's something you're putting your life in danger every day.
Every day.
So it's you born and raised here in Lawrence County?
Yeah, Summertown. Yes, sir.
Summertown. We won't hold that again.
That's all right.
No, I'm just messing with you. It's but it means a lot with you. Did you go to Summertown High School?
I did. Graduate in 1991.
91.
Yes, sir.
You younger than me, man.
Yeah.
It with graduating there, you get to see everything that's been going on in Lawrence County all of your life and living here. Is there any better place you would rather be than in Lawrence County?
Oh no, Lawrence County. You know, I say this a lot. We're talking about the law enforcement, being in law enforcement. Well, as you know, you have a trooper in the family.
Yes.
They're sending us to Memphis. And if you go to places like Memphis, and I'm not saying Memphis is a bad place, but it's got bad areas. You better believe it has bad areas. It really really makes you appreciate Southern hospitality.
Yeah, that's right.
And in Lawrence County, I don't care if it's in Summertown, I don't care if it's in Iron City, St. Joe, Loretta, 5 Points, Bonnertown, Piney, anywhere. This is still country, and people still treat you with respect and you know, the dignity that you deserve. I mean, not that it's going to be given, but you know, if you put on the badge every day, you are supposed to be putting it on for a service of people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What all qualifications do you think you have for being sheriff?
Well, so 33 years experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I have that. When I was with the sheriff's department, I went up through the ranks. I started out in high school. I was selling auto parts. And Don Burdick came in there, and the sheriff's department had an Explorer program.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with the Explorers. Then I went to the Reserve program. Then I went to the jail. I worked the jail. Then I got put on patrol. Sheriff Dorning put me on patrol. I taught there. Then I worked a US 64 grant, which was it was a patrol grant that all I did was patrol Highway 64
Really?
for trafficking and things like that. And then in 2002, I got hired with the Highway Patrol, went through their 6-month academy. And let me tell you about the Highway Patrol Academy. It's 6 month Marine Corps boot camp.
Yeah.
Which instills discipline. I think I have discipline. And everything that you got there, you earned. Nothing was given to you. And it's not just me, it's every trooper that goes through that program. And it instills self-control. And when I say self-control, I'm on the strike team, which that means that I go to civil unrest, whether it's at the Capitol or if it's a tornado in Bonnertown or anywhere in the state. We had troopers. I didn't go, but we had troopers that went to East Tennessee when they had the fires in Gatlinburg. We had troopers over there, and the fire
Really?
was still going. Yeah, we had troopers over there when they had the hurricane come through and flooded all that area. We had troopers there. So I have natural disasters. I have been parts of that. I've been trained in that, and I'm gonna tell you something else that I think a quality I have. I'm big on the team concept. And you think law enforcement? What do you mean as team? Well, if you have a natural disaster, all too well. You've been in the fire department.
Yes.
We all have to work together to achieve the goal. And what is the goal? To assist the people that we serve.
That's right.
And people better believe the people we serve.
Yeah.
Think about that word. It's a very, very big, broad word.
That's right.
But it instills a lot of responsibility, and people rely on you. And I was talking with a couple of the fire guys, and I told them some of the things that I want to do. I want to have, if the Lord blesses me and I become sheriff, I want to have disaster training with not just full-time people. I think you involve your constables. I think you involve your volunteer fire guys, because if it's bad enough, guess what? They're going to be there
Yeah.
too.
Everyone's got to be there.
And they need to know what's expected. So, some of the guys I've talked with, the volunteer fire guys, if we go to a disaster, we really know a little bit about what we do, but we'd like to know what we're supposed to do. Well, the sheriff shouldn't do that. That should be EMA or somebody, and we all should be sitting there saying, hey, this is the way we can achieve the goal of getting EMS in this area.
That's
Or
right.
getting fire in this area. So I'm a big proponent of, I think we work together.
Yeah.
Team. I don't care what uniform you wear. If you're in emergency services, everybody ought to have the same goal.
And you brought up training and working together with each one. But if you do have an emergency situation, and there has to be more than one, whether it be police there, sheriff's department there, EMA there, fire departments there, it's good to know that if you train together, you all know what to expect before you get there.
Well, you learn your people too.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you something else that bothers me about EMS or just emergency work. When you was in the fire department and I started with the sheriff's department, there's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
There's not a brotherhood anymore. And I think it's big because and I hope on down the line today we talk about mental health, because mental health is big. But we have to help each other too.
You better believe it.
And look at all the things that emergency personnel, look what they see on a day-to-day thing.
Yep.
Who do they talk to? Who do they decompress to? It's just it's a problem.
Well-
And mental health is not just for prisoners, or it's not just for victims. It's for EMS too.
You look at and I spent 18 years on Loretta's department and was blessed to do that. The reason I joined is I was in an accident and the fire department helped me. And so I got in and joined them. Loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. The only part I didn't like doing is like what you're saying. When you see something you don't want to see,
Yep.
whether it be with a child, the kids is what bothered me.
Yeah.
The young ones. The wrecks I worked with the people that were intoxicated or whatever,
Sure.
that didn't bother me as
Sure,
much. But
sure.
now the kids is what bothered me. When you're a police officer and you're involved with something like that, and you show up and you deal with the family, with the kids and everything, you have to actually go knock on the door and tell the parents what's going on. This is where the mental part, as far as I think police department needs it too.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. If you do the study, two of the biggest things that happen in law enforcement for police officers is alcoholism and suicide.
Yeah.
And there, even though you see that police officer out there, and when I say that, I mean troopers, deputies, sheriffs, whatever, you see that badge and you see that uniform and all that, and yes, we can hide a lot of things, but you know what, Mark, you can only hide things for so long. And let me say this, I owe you and Charlotte that this is a good way to bring this in. I owe you and Charlotte an apology for the scheduling of this thing, because it was crazy, because Monday in Hickman County we had a fatality involving a motorcycle.
Really?
And I've been dealing with that for the last couple of days. And let me say this. Yes, I want to be sheriff, but if I miss this because I was assisting another family in their need, you know what? That's what I'm getting paid to do right now.
That's right.
That's what that family deserves. I spent some time with that family, and you know as well as I do. Here's another good thing about Lawrence County, and I said we're Southern people, and we care about people. We still care about people. People we don't even know we still care about. And I tell my wife and daughter that, and they know they've done this. It's sad. I've done this enough that they know. It takes me a couple days to get back, because you do see the pain in people's eyes. And that's another thing that I think would be a good quality of the sheriff's department is don't forget about your victims.
Yeah.
If you have someone that has a horrific crime, you know, number one, your full focus should be on prosecution of the suspect. Full. You do everything you can to prosecute that person. And what does that mean is you prepare the case like it's supposed to be. You work with the DA's office. You work with the TBI if that's what's needed. You work with anybody else that you think can help you prosecute that case. And then in the meantime, I still think you still give the attention to the victim. And I'm going to tell you right now, we have talking about victims services. We have a lot of good churches in Lawrence County.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I promise you, I don't know this, but in my heart, I know this, that if you reach out to a church organization, they're not going to refuse to go pray for a victim.
Yeah.
And I think that's big. Big.
It's, I can remember that one of the fires that we worked there where a young child was deceased. And it tore me up because my son was about the same age, about 6, 7 years old. So when we got back to the fire hall, I just called my wife, and she brought him up there, and I just hugged him, and he was saying, well, Daddy, what's wrong? Daddy, what's wrong? Well, we couldn't talk about it. And we went to St. Joe Fire Department. Me, Loretta and St. Joe got together. There might have been some from Iron City in there with us too, 5 Points Southeast also. We were all sitting in a room together, and they had brought several preachers in to talk to us and people to just kind of talk.
Yeah.
And you know that it helps a lot.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw a name out there.
All right.
Stephen Ellis.
Yeah.
You know how passionate Stephen is about the stress debriefing team.
Mm-hmm.
That will be utilized.
Yeah.
It's what a organization, what a tool to have in your toolbox for people to decompress.
Yeah.
And Mark, you know as well as I do, the longer you keep it in, the more it builds up.
That's right.
And the sad thing is, one day it's going to explode.
And you don't want it to. A lot of people say, "Well, when I go home, I wipe my feet off before I go through the front door." That don't work.
No.
I mean, you can compress it like what you're saying.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, it's just going to keep going.
Yeah. You know, you can wash your clothes and wash yourself and get the smoke off, but the smoke's still inside, isn't it?
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So I'm going to say, don't take it out on your family when you get home.
No, that's right. Well, this is something else. Everybody thinks about emergency personnel.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's somebody else that you need to think about that gets forgotten. That is a vital key role in the whole thing. Think about our dispatchers.
Yeah.
I talked about this last week. They start the call on the phone, and they talk they're talking to whoever's made the 911 call. They're having to dispatch everybody that's involved, and then they're hearing everything on the radio traffic, and they got what's on the phone, and then they hang the phone up. The dispatcher don't know what happens until it could be a day later, 2 days later.
That's right.
Before. And you know what? If it's a volatile situation, that dispatcher is going to be like, I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened. But think about this. If you've ever been in a dispatch office, 911 dispatch office, the phone don't stop ringing.
No.
So they got to keep answering the phone. So, you know, we have to render help, some aid to those people as well as everybody else, because a big part of the emergency services. Dispatcher's a lifeline of law enforcement.
Yeah.
So I don't want to not mention our dispatchers, because
That's right.
how important.
You brought up family.
Yeah.
Your wife
Yeah.
and child.
Yeah.
And how many years you been married?
32.
32 years. And our spouses deserve a lot of credit. A man or a woman's only as good as what their spouse is. That's who's propping them up. You think about it.
You better believe it. You know, you're talking about lifelines and you're talking about support. It's not fair to them because they don't understand what we're talking about
That's
all
right.
the time.
That's right.
And I've been doing it for 33 years, but guess what? My wife still doesn't know, but you know what? She's willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes just talking and listening is good things. And I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I'll tell you something else. Sometimes they can be brutally honest too, which we need. We need also.
You better believe
You know,
it.
we need
That's
to
right.
get put back in check. But I'm good with that.
Mhm.
I'm good with, and my daughter's the same way. You know, talking about calls. One of the last calls I had, my daughter was 98, 4 years old, 2002, when I started the highway patrol. A little Amish kid fell into a horse trough and drowned.
Mm.
And as I was getting there, the EMS had that baby. And when I was pulling up, it was getting into the ambulance, and all I could see was that gold hair.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in church.
Yeah.
I sat in that patrol car, I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, golly, come on, get it together, get it
It
together.
hits home, oh man.
Oh yeah, and this is something else that's pretty cool. That ending my career at the sheriff's office, Christy Bird and myself worked a child neglect case, and it was a little boy and a little girl. This is just how we take things for granted. I was on night shift, and we went and did the check, and the DCS ended up taking the kids. And they're down there, and I'm thinking, these kids have got to be hungry. And I said, do y'all want something to eat? And they just looked at me and smiled. I said, y'all want a Happy Meal? Hey, these kids didn't even know what a Happy Meal was.
Ain't that something?
You know what? I went and got them, Christy Bird and myself went and got them 2 Happy Meals. And you just look at things like that, what we take for granted.
Yeah.
And you know, people ask me all the time, and I think this is a good time to put this in there. People ask me all the time, how's it going, Chris? How's the election going? I tell them I don't know. I don't know how it's going. But I tell you how it's going to go. And they look at you real funny, like, are you that arrogant? No, I don't mean it as arrogant. Just listen to my answer. If the Lord above wants me to be sheriff, I'll be sheriff. If he doesn't, guess what I'm going to be? A sergeant in Hickman County. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
The highway patrol has been very good to me and my family. It's still an honor to work for the highway patrol. If I didn't care, I wouldn't have taken that time to be with that family and give them everything I had in their time of need.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to get here. Even though you're the sheriff, I think that that's a calling, and I know Sheriff Myers will tell you this because he says this all the time. I think that's a calling that people don't understand. When I say power, I don't mean it like I'm going to tell you. The power of the position is you can go and make a difference. You can go and change a life. You know, you can be supportive, and that's one of the big things that really appeals to me. I'm a people person.
There we go.
I love people.
What and now sheriff is only as good as his team he puts with him. And where I'm going with this is, what kind of goals would you set for you and your team?
Okay. Yeah, great. That's a great question. And I think before you can succeed, number one, you got to have a good team. You surround yourself with people better than you.
That's smart.
Yeah. You know, hey, if people know me, they probably know Chris Hanna, what in the world? But I'm going to tell you, I have a good team. And when I say team, that goes from the jailer all the way to the sheriff. I think some of the things that you do is you involve everybody. You make them part of the planning and the process. So one of the first things, if I get elected, one of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm going to call the jailers in, not the supervisors. Understand, they'll have their time, but I'm gonna call the jailers in. I'm gonna call the patrol people in, and I'm gonna look at them and I say, all right, what do you guys think that we're gonna need to succeed? What can I give you to help you be successful in the job? Training.
That's right.
We got to have training, and I think if you have training and you have a little better than standard training, and there's a lot of police officers in Lawrence County, sheriff's deputies, troopers, city police officers, whether it's Etheridge, Loretta, whatever, St. Joe. There's a lot of talented people here that can train people, and we can have specialized training within ourselves. If you have good training, guess what that does? It gives you confidence to do your job.
That's right.
And you're going to go in and you're going to cross your T's and dot your I's. Well, so, and I don't mean this bad. I'm just telling you, I like to do research before I talk, and I went to the DA's office, and they have told me that there's some issues that needs to be addressed to prosecute cases, and they didn't go into it, didn't ask. But I just want people to be confident when they prosecute cases. I want them to be confident when they go before the grand jury and they see the people of Lawrence County sitting in there when they're telling their case. I want when the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office go into the courtroom, they know this person's got their act together, and then back to the victim, and it's going to let the victim have the confidence that they're going to get what they deserve in court. All right, training is important. I'm going to tell you something else that I think is very important. It's community-oriented policing. I think we have to get back out in the communities. Now, what does that mean? This is exactly what that means. It means they shouldn't only see a police officer when it's bad.
That's right.
They ought to have a police officer at the ball games. They ought to have a police officer at fundraisers. They ought to have a police officer anywhere that it can be a positive impact. Because we talked about earlier, how law enforcement gets looked at now.
Mm-hmm.
What a better way to change the face of that? Hey, Deputy so-and-so was in Loretta and met 75 people he's never met, and guess what? That makes a difference.
I like seeing when the police officers interact with the youth too.
Oh, most definitely.
And see them. You see TikToks and everything else of people playing basketball and stuff together, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But the only thing is you got to watch nowadays is people say, look, we're paying him to patrol and he's out here. You know, I don't think so. I think when you're interacting with the youth, you're teaching them that if they need something, you're a person too. Come to you.
I'll tell you how I feel about that. If I'm the sheriff and somebody calls and says that, I'll use a highway patrol motto here: servants, not lords.
There you go.
Servants.
Yeah.
Is shooting basketball with you serving? You better believe it's serving in my eyes.
Yeah.
And you know what? If that person still has an issue with that, won't you come in the office and we will go over some cases, and I will show you some of the stuff that kids need in today's time. As Charlotte and I talked about this last week, and she brought this up. I believe you surround yourself with strong people. Charlotte and I was talking, there's nothing for kids to do in Lawrence County anymore.
You're right.
And we had to find something that, when you and I were growing up, we could ride the strip.
And I never got in trouble.
I never got in trouble. And you know what? We could be set. Loretta had their spot. Lawrenceburg had their spot. Summertown. But everybody would ride around and somebody would be in somebody's spot before. You never heard any problem.
No,
and you know what?
trouble.
That city police officer working that shift knew every one of us.
Yeah.
And they would stop. They would check in on us because that's their job. But you know what? They never messed with us.
No.
So Charlotte had a great idea of a splash pad.
Yeah.
I think a splash pad's great. Don't know where you would put it. Don't know anything about it. But you take these last couple of days, I don't know that I wouldn't be on the splash pad.
You'd have people in full uniform.
Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
I just think you invest in your communities. I think you get out. We get the deputies out of the city and into the communities, and we just do things like that. Just it's a win-win if you think about it.
You got and we brought up about talking with kids and being around kids and stuff. I remember back in the day, and it's been a long time ago. I'm unfamiliar with it, so correct me if I'm wrong. But at one time we had a DARE program.
Yes, sir.
and Lawrence County knows too. We've got a drug problem.
Yeah.
There's drug problems in every county.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
do you think the DARE program helped?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think any program like that would be anything's better than nothing.
Yeah. But it takes money. I mean, it takes money to do it. So
It does, but there's federal funding for that. So this is, and I've spoke with a couple of people that's got programs that's very effective that we may implement, and I'm not opposed to doing DARE again.
Mhm.
I think so. You talked about drug programs. That let's lead into this. Ever since you and I were growing up, Lawrence County's had a drug problem. There's not a doubt they've had a drug problem. So I think if you have a problem and it's a continuing problem, and I would dare say for some people, not all, but for some people, when I worked here, I probably had the grandsons that I dealt with in jail. And in the middle of my tenure, we probably had dads, and now we're into granddads and things like that. It's a revolving door. But I think, like you, I think we start with their youth. I think you change. We can't do anything different, because I'm gonna tell you, John Myers and Gary Mills both can work dope, because that's been their career. They can work dope. But what we've got to do is find a preventive way to maybe get with the kid and give them decision-making tools when they get that peer pressure and that they don't have self-esteem or things like that. I think we have to give them tools to succeed and make the correct decisions, because the decisions that they make, they're not easy. It's going to be hard. And I just want to, and that's building your SROs. People don't understand. The SRO is one of the key positions in the sheriff's office. I think that they can make as much, if not more, difference than anybody within the sheriff's office, because if they're doing their job right, they're a role model in that school. And some of the things that I want to do with the SROs is I'm going to task them a little more. Now, I'm going to make their job hard? No, but we got to sit down and we got to decide, just like everybody else, what do we need to do to make this program succeed?
Yeah.
And I spoke with Mr. Atkins about something. I think that with our youth, I want to do a camp. I want to do a summer camp. Don't know where, don't know the specifics, but in my mind, my mind's working, and I want to do a camp. I want that kid that is right there on that line, can go either way. This is something that we were talking about, taking things for granted. Think about this, Mark. When you and I grew up, we had family dinners.
You're right.
A lot of kids can't say that now.
That's right.
A full family, mom, dad, grandparents. Some kids can't say that. And it hurts my heart that these kids can't feel that grandparent love like you and I did. But I want to take that kid that may be on that line of going bad decision or good decision, and I want to take them, and I want to have a camp in the summertime. I want to build self-esteem. I want to build self-worthiness. I want them to know, hey, even though you've had it tough, guess what? There's other people that's had it tough also.
Yeah.
If we all work together and give you the support that we can, we're going to make you, we're going to help you get over this hurdle.
Yeah.
And Mr. Atkins said that he can assist with credits if a kid comes in and completes our program.
That's neat.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else that I would like to do. I would like to have a teacher that just gets out of college. Say they graduate in the spring and school's out. I would like to have that teacher to come in and teach classes to these kids. Well, guess what that's doing? That's teaching them classroom management. That's teaching them, hey, this is a system I would like to get on when I start. And it gives them a little experience before it goes live, before they go in the classroom. Team,
We have a lot of families in Lawrence County, surrounding counties too, that is a single parent home.
Most definitely.
Whether it be dads raising the kids or mothers raising their kids.
Or grandparents.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, I don't want to say it wrong, but there's a lot of respect that needs to be taught to kids.
Most definitely.
And nowadays, I feel that a lot of kids, and I don't mean it bad, so please don't anyone get mad at me for saying this, but I feel a lot of kids don't respect a lot of people.
No. And what you have to understand, in order to receive respect, you got to give it.
That's right.
And you know, let's since we're going to be real, let's be real. I think, and this is something that this would be added to the sheriff's office. Accountability. You know, there's not accountability anymore either. Expectations and accountability. We as humans, we're kids at heart. That we're going to get away with what we can get away with.
Yeah.
And this is another way I look at it. If you look at a kid today, I don't care if you have a badge on. It's not like it was when you and I were growing up. You respected that.
You better believe it.
But it's not like that now. If a kid will look at their parents when their parents, my dad could look at me and I knew he was fixing to beat the brakes off
You
me.
better believe it.
Just to look. And when I say that, I don't mean he was gonna correct me. You better believe that.
He didn't beat you, but he give you what you deserve.
Yeah, he made you think it at the time.
That's
didn't he?
right. That's right.
But this is, if a parent does that to a kid now, they look at him and say, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah.
I thought, my goodness me. But if they don't respect their parents, how can we expect them to respect us?
Yeah.
But this is being in the communities,
Mm-hmm.
being in the schools. I'm gonna tell you, trust is a big thing. If a kid that is down on their luck, whether it's family and they're making bad decisions, if they trust someone, they might not show it, but eventually, if you keep working, you will get to that person.
That's right.
You will get to that person.
I've noticed some teachers too, which I'm blessed. I have two teachers. My wife and my daughter are both teaching, and I've heard my wife make the comment before. Let's make good choices.
Yeah. Oh.
Would you think this would be a good choice? Let's think about this just a second. And you know, and the child stop and look at them, and even this would be one of my grandkids. I've heard her say this too, and she'll say, "Do you think this would be a good choice?" And they'll say, "No, ma'am,"
Mhm.
and she'll say, "That's good."
Yeah.
Why isn't it a good
That's
choice?
right. That's right.
And you know, 9 times out of 10, and she's not yelling at them, but I mean that means a lot from a police officer too. They can ask the same thing. Do you think this is a good choice?
Oh, for sure. Choices and consequences.
That's right.
You know, every choice you make, there's a consequence, good or bad. You make that decision. And you know, and let's go into this. And I think this is important. We'll just use this. We'll go to the jail part just a little bit. Just because someone makes a bad choice doesn't mean they're a bad person.
That's right.
We've all messed up.
You better believe it.
We've all messed up. I think that we have to, and I'm sure they are. So please, I don't want anyone to take this that I'm saying it's not happening, because that's not what I'm saying. We just got to make sure there's programs that is getting utilized. If someone gets in trouble, that we help them. You know,
Yeah.
Now, is everybody going to get help from it? No, because you can't help someone that won't help themselves.
That's right.
But I truly believe that if you give in your best effort, you'll win more times than you lose. So the jail, yep, there's people in there that made bad choices and decisions. Well, we have to help them. So you take somebody that's maybe in there for an extended period of time. I think we need to have a little bit of a program before they get out to get them acclimated back to the real life, because if you put somebody back out without thinking or they're going to go back to where they were at and what they were doing. And the next thing you know, they're back in jail. And think about this as a budget standpoint. If a person keeps getting rebooked into jail, that's a reoccurring cost, because you still have to feed them. You still have to do this. You still have to do that. So we have to try and come up with a preventive measure somehow, some shape, form, or fashion. And I'm telling you, Lawrence County's full of teams that has great ideas and great programs that will assist in this. And like I said earlier, I'm a team person. I want teams to be involved in this. And I think that when we put someone that's been incarcerated back out into society, maybe we're putting a better person out there. You know, we hope jail's a rehabilitation. It'll be a rehabilitation program. We hope that is. Once again, we know it's not always going to work, But do we owe that to the person that's in jail? Yep. You know what? If a person makes a mistake, well, they got family just like the victim. They're loved by someone too. Well, the person that's made the mistake that's in jail, they have family. And guess what? That family's hurting because they made a bad decision. And you just want to try to put the best product out that you can put out. And just because you're sheriff, let me say this, just because if I'm blessed to get elected, when I take office September the 1st, it don't mean I'm a smarter man than I am today. It's going to mean I'm dumber. And I'll tell you why it means I'm dumber. I got to learn how to be the sheriff. And there's a lot to it. But once again, if you surround yourself with good people, it'll be easier to transition and somebody will take up the slack.
You learn.
Yeah, you learn. And you know what? You can learn something from everybody if you'll shut your mouth, open your ears, and listen.
Yeah.
I've heard this. That's why God give one mouth and two ears. You sit and listen. You take notes. You sit down and talk the pros and cons of everything. You know, I just think it's a win-win for everybody. That's the way you have to look at it.
You know, also with you being married, as long as you've been married, you know how to sit there with your mouth closed and listen. Don't
You
you
better. If you want supper.
That's right.
If you want supper.
What do you see? What do you see your future with law enforcement? Where do you see it headed? I want to take. Now, here's where I go with that.
Yeah, please.
You have a lot of people that when they look at a police officer, to me the badge, and I don't mean this bad, please don't. The badge is a target.
Yeah.
I see so many people that see a badge and the first thing they do is pull their cell phone out. I'm on video. You're being videoed. Well, you pull me over.
Sure.
Well, what'd you pull me over for?
Sure.
Well, you're speeding.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you're doing 2 miles an hour over or 25 over. You're still breaking the speed limit.
Sure.
It breaks down to respect.
That's right.
But the badge is constantly somebody's looking for a reason to blame you for something.
Yeah.
And I just feel that a lot of times the police departments, not just sheriff and not just state, not city, they get a bad rap.
Yeah. Well, and I believe in being honest.
Yeah.
There's people out there wearing the badge that shouldn't be wearing the badge that causes that.
Yeah.
And accountability. I think that there's a lot of responsibility goes with that badge.
You're not just a police officer when you're wearing the badge.
No, you're not.
You're it all 24/7.
And that's what people has to understand. When you're off duty, if you do something, if you're a knucklehead, you're going to be in the news, not as your name, but as deputy or
That's right.
officer or trooper.
You're right.
That's the way it's going to be. That's the nature of what we're doing today. So you talked about cameras. I think cameras are huge. We will utilize body cams, and I think there's the pros outweighs the cons, and let me tell you why. There's 3 sides to every story, right? My side, your side, and the truth.
That's exactly right.
And the camera's not going to lie.
Mm-mm.
And with the highway patrol, I'm a supervisor with the highway patrol, and I have to review I have to review videos every month. I have to make sure that they're not violating policy and procedure. I have to make sure they're safe, and I have to make sure they're doing the job that they're expected to do. Some people will call that micromanaging. I call that destruction control. And you know what destruction control, if you watch that video, you can pick up on patterns. You can see if an officer is doing things, agitating, if they're being aggressive when they shouldn't be aggressive, if they're going across the line, maybe lying, doing certain things. I'm going to tell you something. Ethics is huge with me. If you can't be ethical, you will not wear a badge and work at the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office if I'm the sheriff. If you're corrupt, you will not wear a badge and you will not wear the uniform of the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department because you're not misrepresenting me. You're misrepresenting Lawrence County.
That's right.
And I will not stand for that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something, accountability. I'm going to hold myself very accountable. And I want Lawrence County to hold me accountable, which that flows downhill. If I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to have these standards, everybody else is going to have the same standards. Why would I be different than the person that works with me, not for me, works with me? I'm going to wear the same uniform that those guys wear. I'm going to wear a uniform. You know why? Because I want them to see me as them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to see me as someone different. don't be surprised if there's a call someday that you don't see me answering a call, because sometimes you have manpower shortages. I'm not too good to work. I'm not too good to go out there and take a report. I'm not good to go out there and talk with somebody. And speaking of that, let me say this. I'm a people person. I love to talk to people. I'm not a keyboard warrior. I don't care about all that stuff. If you have an issue with the sheriff's department or Chris Hanna, don't bash me or the department on the keyboard. Come to the sheriff's department, and I promise you, we will figure something out.
There's a lot, and I call it Spacebook. Man, the reason why I call it Spacebook is because they don't advertise with me on my show. So, but here's the reason I say this: there's a lot of people that use that as a weapon.
That's right.
I mean, and you can ruin a person or a family in a stroke of just typing a few words.
Yeah,
and a lot of the stuff is blowed out of proportion. And granted, some of it may be true.
That's right.
But it's still blowed out of proportion.
For sure. Well, you have to look at it. We're under the scope of the public. I mean, we're going to be the microscope. We're going to be there, but that's okay. Doing what's right is always the right thing to do.
You're right. As long as you know you're right.
That's exactly right. And that comes back to training. That comes back with accountability. I mean, you have to have expectations. If you're going to have discipline and accountability, you have to have expectations. They need to know what's expected of them before they can go to work.
Do you have, and you mentioned training. I'm green on this, on all of this. So I wing a bunch of this.
Sure.
So on the training part, as far as on the sheriff's department and stuff, do you believe that there's special training for jailers, special training?
Most definitely.
I mean, it's everything's different. I mean, especially in the jailer, with a jailer, you're going to be in a confined space all the time, just about it.
Well, here's something that a lot of people, they don't think about. If you're going to get a lawsuit, it's probably going to come from the jail most of the time.
Yeah.
Because you have inmates that's sitting back there, and all they've got to do is sit and think of things to manipulate the system. Well, I think as jailer, to be honest with you, I think everybody before they go on patrol should have to work the jail. And I'll tell you why. You learn how to read people. You learn how to deal with people, because that's all you're doing. And if you pick up, just like I said, watching those videos, if you see somebody doing certain things on that video, maybe it will head off the aggressive arrest where you may use excessive force. Because I'm telling you, today's time, you said it, everybody's got cameras.
Mm-hmm.
If you get an excessive force case and it's on camera, it's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
So you had that off, but this is the jail. You learn how to do that, and I think being in the jail is one of the most dangerous places too.
Here's the thing too: if a police officer, number one, you've done something wrong when you've been stopped anyway. You already know if you're guilty. You know if you're drinking and driving. You know if you've done drugs. You know it.
Yep.
And instead of just complying and just saying yes sir, no sir, everybody got to get defensive.
Yeah.
Everybody's got, get your hands off me. No,
Yeah.
I don't, there's a fine line. I don't want my family in jeopardy because this guy feels like a giant against a police officer.
No, right.
I want the situation controlled, and I don't want my family injured. That I'm talking about my family that are officers.
Sure.
Because they're doing something that they're doing their job.
Mark, let's be real. You had that.
Yeah.
You had that.
I've had that.
You have had that.
I've had son-in-law.
That's exactly right.
And the phone call we received saying that he was injured and in a helicopter headed to Vanderbilt.
That's right.
And my daughter said that they're going to send a couple of troopers to pick me up, and I said, no, they're not. I'll have you at Vanderbilt before they get to your house.
Yeah.
And there's not a doubt in my mind what I got clocked doing going up Saturn Parkway that night. But I want to tell you, you mentioned earlier brotherhood.
That's right.
That's a brotherhood I've never seen. When I pulled up and let my daughter out, and there was 20 police officers there, not just highway patrolmen.
Nope.
There were different police officers from everywhere. So it gives me goosebumps talking about it. But standing there, and they rushed her in to be with her husband, my son.
That's right.
And rushed her in there to be with him, and they treated me like I was somebody too, because they knew what I was going through also. But we'll take it further. He was actually trained by my sister-in-law.
That's
Christy
right.
Wallace.
That's right.
And so there's a lot, and that whole family has been raised in that because Wayne Springer
That's exactly right.
is my wife's uncle.
Colonel Springer. That's
And
right.
and Wayne, I'll never forget the day I got married, and he opened the door up at the church, and he smiled at me, and he said, "How you doing, Mr. Rowland?" I said, "I'm doing fine, Mr. Springer. How are you?" And he said, "Just think, because you're married into this family, don't mean I'm gonna fix any tickets for you." And I was like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow," and then he started laughing,
Yeah.
and I was like, he was dead serious.
Yep.
But I love the sense of humor.
Yeah.
But there is a love for law enforcement in my family, and I just think that if you're wearing that badge, you want to be treated with respect, but they show respect to you also.
Oh, first.
But don't push it. I mean,
That's
I'm
right.
just like, you're guilty. Don't do this. And
I'll tell you what I do, and it works. It's crazy how it works. So I stop somebody for speeding, and I get up there, and they give me down the road. I just smile at them. I go back to my car. I run their driver's license, and if they're not speeding too bad, sometimes I'll give them a warning. I'll go back up there and I say, "Well, I'm just going to give you a warning today." And I said, "Let me ask you something." I said, "I want you to do something for me." And they're looking at you, and they still mad. I said, "And I want you to be honest. I don't want you to lie. I want you to be honest with me. Reverse the roles. I'm the driver and you're the trooper. What would you have done in this same situation?" You know what? Most of them, I wrote them a ticket.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, there you go. That's right.
but if the bad thing about law enforcement, if you have one bad encounter, it leaves a bad taste in that person's mouth, and then they're going to talk about it, and it's like, all right, I'll use this analogy. I heard this the other day, and it's one of the best analogies that I've ever heard. Let's talk about doing good, something good. So I like to use the analogy. The sheriff, I'll use me if I'm running. No, I'll use me as a trooper, because I want to do good every day. I try to, when I start, I say a prayer every morning, and I said, "Lord, use me. If you put me in a situation, make me the best that I can be, and use me to your honor, your glory and honor." If you take that, Mark, think about this. With all the bad going on in the world, we're a drop of water. Me and you're a drop of water. You take that drop of water and it falls into a bigger body of water. What does it do? Ripples. You see how that one good person can go out and spread good.
Mm-hmm.
Same analogy for bad. If you got that bad person out here misrepresenting Lawrence County, you got that bad person out here misrepresenting Tennessee, that ripple in that water is probably going to ripple a little more, and the waves are going to be a little higher for that bad person than for the good person, because people thrive on bad news. So what I want to do is this is what I want. If I'm blessed to be the sheriff and you work for the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office, every day you come to work, I want you to think, I'm blessed to do what I do. I'm blessed to get to serve the citizens of Lawrence County. And you're going to get my A game. Now, everybody's going to have bad days. And if a supervisor reads body language and they get a bad day, I hope they say, "Hey, go ride through David Crockett Park. Go to Piney and ride in the country. Go to Iron City and ride in the country." If you see somebody out, stop and talk to them. The best thing that you can do if you're having a bad day is talk to somebody.
That's right. So 33 years, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What made you 33 years ago want to do this, want to get into law enforcement?
I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I love to help people. Now, when I started, I didn't know the degree of help that I could do. Now that I've got 33 years, there's all different types of help you can do. I just believe that I think the Lord put us here for a reason. I still don't know what that purpose is. I know He's using me in different areas, but I think we're here for a purpose, and I want to make the best of it. Hey, let's be real. Me and you're not guaranteed our next breath.
That's right.
And I want to give what I got today. I want to, number one, that's just like I was talking about the fatal crash we had Monday. I represent the people in Tennessee because I'm a Tennessee state trooper. I don't want them people in the worst situation one of the worst situations of their life. I don't want them, every time they see a trooper or think of a trooper, I don't want them thinking, what a bunch of jerks. What a bunch of inconsiderate people. But you know what? I went in there, I talked with them, I prayed with them, and I hugged them. I don't know why. It just I hugged them. And I hope just something I did, I just hope I give them peace. Because when we do that death notification, and me and you and Stephen have talked about this, when we do that death notification, in 15 seconds we change that family's life
Yeah,
forever.
I couldn't stand it.
Forever. And you know, I want to talking about surrounding yourself with people better than you and good people. Just because the sheriff, just because you're the chief deputy, just because you're whatever, don't mean you're excluded from having bad days.
Yeah.
And you know what? Don't think I'm not beyond jumping in a car with a deputy and riding around talking.
Yeah, it means a lot too.
Yeah,
No,
because
I meant it when you say you hold it in because it doesn't do nothing
oh,
but
it's
build
terrible.
up.
It's a bomb. I mean, you can call it what you want to. It's a bomb.
That's exactly right. So where do you go from here? Elections, which the early
Voting started.
already
Yeah,
going.
yeah,
So
yeah. So I'm just continuing to work. I'm continuing to just be out when I can, and I hope people forgive me because I haven't got to make all of the functions. And Mark, when you started, you said, "I bet you'll be glad when this is over." Let me tell you something. I don't care who you are. If you, as a citizen, see somebody running for a political office, this is what I ask you do. Shake their hand and say, thank you for running.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Because number one, you have got to be a politician. Number two, number one, you got to be a family. Let's put it in order. Number one, this is for me. I have to be a family. Number two, I'm still working a full-time job that works 2 weeks of days, 2 weeks of nights. And I also work in Hickman County, so I'm not. But I couldn't politic on duty anyway because that violates the Little Hatch Act, and they will arrest me and they will fire me, and then you politic in your spare time. But I've had some good friends to step up and say thank you, and saying thank you. Can I go ahead and thank you and Charlotte and Roger?
well, thank me.
Well, okay, yeah, thank you. Hey, no, I want everybody. I want everybody to know this about WLX. They have let me, in some shape or fashion. It started out with Major Chris Dye. He was a lieutenant here. They let us come in here and talk about Trooper Thursdays, and then they continue to let that go. And then now I'm running for office, and you guys you've reached out to me. Hey, we're offering this. You don't have to take it, but we're offering this. And I've been included in everything that everyone else has been included on. And that's not just the sheriff's race. And I want to thank you guys for being fair with everybody. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to do this today, because this is what I hope people get out of Chris Hanna today. I'm genuine. I'm a people person. I care about the future of Lawrence County. Lawrence County's growing. I care about the future of Lawrence County, and you're going to get the best that I can give you. And I just want to say thank you to WLX for doing what they've done.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And I'm going to say this. This is nothing that Mark and I done today was script. This is all off the cuff. And if you can't tell that Mark's country, and if you can't tell that Mark's not vested in law enforcement and emergency personnel and teaching, you didn't listen to our radio segment. You didn't listen to that. And it takes good people to spread the word, and that's what happens here. And I really appreciate that.
Well, here's two things I grabbed right off the bat. Number one, when I asked you a question, you said, yes, sir. No, sir. And I smile because I'm not used to that. I mean, yeah, you're used to some people doing that, but you can tell that you've been in law enforcement that long because you're doing that. Number two, you're not scared to say thank you.
No.
At all.
No.
But the main thing I saw is you referred to this several times. You referred to God, the Lord.
Oh.
And even saying you were saying you were praying before some of the calls and stuff, and every time when you wake up. So, Chris, I do appreciate you coming by, buddy.
Thank you, brother, and I appreciate it.
There we go. Chris Hanna, this last hour has been paid for by Chris Hanna, for Sheriff.
This is WLLX 97.5 Lawrenceburg and WLXA 98.3 Florence, a broadcast service of Prospect Communications.
Chris, any last words?
Is your mic on? No.
Mine wasn't.
Now it is.
Chris, any last word?
No. Once again, thank you. And thank you, Lawrence County. You know, you guys have showed me love and support. If I don't win, I met a lot of good people in Lawrence County that I wouldn't have met. And thank you. If you don't vote for me, I would love to have your vote. Look, go vote. There's a lot of important election, you know, a lot of political things
And
going
we
on.
said it. I've said it before. That if you don't vote, you can't complain.
You can't complain. No, you
Chris,
can't.
good to see
Thank
you,
you,
buddy.
brother.
Congratulations.
Appreciate y'all.
Congratulations.
God bless everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all very much. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. We're going to work on the air conditioning. Y'all come see me, Main Street, Loretta. We'll talk lawnmowers. Y'all have a blessed one.